Are you very powerful? Well, today we are going to talk about how we get this power or the energy that we have in our bodies. Where does it come from? We all know that cellular respiration derives energy from the food that we eat, mainly glucose, as most of the food that we eat ends up as glucose. So, we know that in the presence of oxygen plus glucose will give us carbon dioxide, water and energy. This energy is stored in the form of ATP molecules. These ATP molecules can be considered as the energy currency in our body. You see, we need to have money in order to buy food. Similarly, our body needs to have this energy currency to get energy. That is, energy can't be used if it's not in the form of ATP molecules. So that is why, to use energy, it has to first be transferred to adenosine triphosphate or ATP. Now, one thing you should know about ATP is that it's made up of adenine and a sugar called ribose, and then it has 3 uncomfortable phosphate molecules attached to it. Now, since they hate each other, what does ATP do? It eliminates one of the jerk kids from one corner. By eliminating the third phosphate group, adenosine triphosphate becomes adenosine diphosphate. And in this reaction, where the third jerk kid was eliminated, energy is released. So now we have learned how ATP is spent and energy is released. So let's learn how ATP is made in the first place. The most important thing in cellular respiration is the part of oxygen and glucose. Glucose is broken down in 3 different steps. The first step is called glycolysis. Here, glucose is converted into 6 carbon atoms or pyruvic acids and NADH, which helps in the production of more ATP molecules. Oxygen is important for the overall process of cellular respiration, but that does not mean that it's important for each and every step. For example, glycolysis can be carried out in the absence of oxygen. That is, it will do anaerobic respiration. In the absence of oxygen, the pyruvates released in glycolysis are rerouted to a process called fermentation. And without oxygen, during fermentation, the NAD+ are frozen. This leads to some interesting byproducts. For example, when yeast cells carry out anaerobic respiration, ethyl alcohol is the byproduct, which is basically all of this stuff. Lucky for us, our body does not produce this byproduct when it respires anaerobically to produce more energy when we can't supply enough oxygen to the muscle cells. When you do some vigorous exercise, do you feel certain pain in your muscles? Do you get cramps? Well, this is the result of accumulation of lactic acid, which is a byproduct when your muscle cells do not have enough oxygen to produce energy, so they respire anaerobically. So what have we learned today? We have learned how energy is produced even in the absence of oxygen and the kind of byproducts that are released. So until next time, happy learning!